Hey fam, I want to talk about overtime. I've never been a big fan of working overtime. If I work overtime, it's because I'm trying to pay something off or it's because I'm trying to go on a trip or do something special. Overtime to me doesn't mean that that's supposed to be like on a continuous basis. If you have to work overtime to pay the bare necessities, I feel like you need to reevaluate where you live. If you have to work overtime to pay your mortgage, that means that you went into that house broke, and that means that you went into that house when you couldn't afford it. Okay, so I think that's where you need to reevaluate and probably put that property up for sale. If you went into apartment and where you have to work overtime to pay the bare necessities, like I just heard somebody say, well, I'm not going to even say somebody. I remember growing up and my mama, she was a single mother, and she had to work overtime to pay the light bill. I prayed from that day on to say, God, don't put me in a position like that, because I feel like when you have to work overtime to pay a light bill, that means that we need to reconsider or we need to reevaluate where we live. That means that if you can't live in that apartment paying the rent and paying the lights and paying the gas, paying the cable which is a luxury, paying the telephone. If you cannot live in an apartment that can cover your basic needs while living into that apartment, that means we shouldn't be living there. That's how I feel about it. So overtime to me is when you're trying to pay off a car note early. If you know that you got a 4 year car note and you want to knock it off in 2 years, okay, that's what overtime is. If you got credit card debt, that's temporary. That means that you're working overtime to pay off your credit cards. Okay, and then you have to be mindful to not to do that again. Okay, I would not let my credit cards get above $1,000. Do a trip and pay it off. Okay, but other than that, overtime means that you're trying to do something temporarily, and not every day, not year after year after year after year. I can understand if you're doing overtime because you want to get your savings back up. Because sometimes, we get out of, our savings account get like below, like my savings account, you can't go below $5,000. So you can't go below 5,000. You went below $5,000 and now you're trying to get your savings back up, right? So my thing is, overtime is temporarily. That means you're doing temporary projects, and you are trying to get, you're trying to get out of something real quick. So let's be mindful. If you're doing overtime on a consistent basis, that means that we need to do a reevaluation of where we live. Yep. We need to do a reevaluation of our life. We need to do we need to do another plan, because there's a lot of people that's working in apartments and they're working overtime to pay a light bill. They're working overtime to pay some type of bill that was a necessity, and it should have came. You should have been able to afford that when you got into an apartment. So, I really don't. I really don't like overtime, and if I'm gonna do overtime, it's only gonna be because I'm trying to pay something off early because I'm trying to get somewhere. Okay, so that's my thoughts, and that's how I feel about overtime. Okay, you guys have a blessed day.